In the previous episode of Foundation, Hari Seldon was deeply disturbed by the world events deviating from his predictions. Gale's discovery of a pivotal turning point 150 years into the future created numerous challenges, leaving them uncertain about how to realign the present course. Gale's vision had revealed the mule's abilities, and the realization saddened her deeply. As we move into episode 3, we'll witness the revelations that unfold and whether Polly, Gale, Salver, and the others can make sense of their fate. Polly remained persistent and refused to give up until she met the man mentioned in the vault records. The entire Terminus administration opposed the idea of pursuing someone based solely on the name from the vault. Hobber Mallow, known for his exceptional trade skills, had a questionable reputation, fostering widespread distrust. Polly, however, saw the vault as more than just a physical structure, hinting at its deeper significance. The vault bore the name of the esteemed prophet Hari Seldon himself. Polly recognized the significance of having someone's name on the vault, and he knew that Holbor would play a pivotal role in the fight against the Empire. While not a true believer, Polly had faith in the psycho-historical calculations, leading him to believe that the Empire's downfall was inevitable, albeit gradual. To find Holbor, Polly journeyed to Corel, nestled in the Whistleland Rift. Upon arrival, he discovered that Holbor was facing a death sentence, with the commander of Corel intending to make an example out of him. Holbor, desperate to escape his fate, devised a plan to deceive the commander and steal the precious artifact known as the Eye of Coral, a diamond-like object mounted on the commander's staff. In a daring move, Holbor pretended to be a traitor and attempted to flee with the Eye of Coral. However, he was soon captured and brought back by the crowd for execution. Just as the moment of reckoning approached, Holbor utilized a bracelet he possessed, swapping positions with the commander, effectively outwitting him and exposing his folly to everyone present. Having witnessed the spectacle, Polly rushed back to their spaceship, anticipating Holbor's escape attempt. He and Constance managed to board the ship in time and administered a tranquilizer to Holbor, preventing him from causing further disruptions. They brought him back to Terminus, and in the upcoming episode of Foundation, we will discover what unfolds when he enters the vault. Eventually, Demerzel managed to persuade Brother Day to allow her to visit the Lepsis Panel colony, where Belrios was held as a prisoner. Her aim was to negotiate with him, convincing him to take command of the 20th Fleet and return to battle for the Empire. When Demerzel found Belrios, he was in a dire situation, but she presented him with an exceedingly generous offer: his freedom if he agreed to serve the Empire and lead the unit. Demerzel, however, had a secret weapon up her sleeve, which she used when her initial plan seemed to falter. Despite offering him freedom, she revealed that Belrios' husband, Glain, was still alive, and the news of his death had been falsely conveyed to condemn Belrios to a life of sorrow and pain. This revelation left Belrios bewildered, as he had been mourning his husband's loss for 6 agonizing years, only to now learn that it was all a lie. This truth proved to be the most excruciating punishment for him, and he finally agreed to meet with Brother Day to ascertain the veracity of Demerzel's claims. During the private conversation, Belrios came to understand that he had held a crucial position of power, and despite what they had led him to believe, they needed him. Armed with this knowledge, he had the leverage to make demands according to his own desires. When Belrios finally laid eyes on Glowin in the 3rd episode of Foundation, it felt as though the weight of the world's pain and grief had been lifted from his shoulders. After 6 years, Bel felt a newfound sense of purpose, knowing exactly what he wanted to do. He confided in Glowin, stating that among trillions of subjects that Brother Day oversaw, he was the only indispensable one, and he intended to make the most of that privilege. Bel was aware of Brother Day's fear of the popularity, which made Day hesitant to call upon him to lead the forces. Bel saw this as an opportunity and was determined to seize it fully. It seemed like Hari Seldon had returned to life, surprising Salvar and Gale in the 3rd episode of Foundation. However, their journey took an unexpected turn, as Hari had deceived them, failing to inform them that they would not be visiting Ignis as they initially thought. Instead, they encountered Yana, Hari's wife, and Cal, the renowned mathematician, within Cal's mind. While imprisoned in Cal's mind, Hari was journeying to a planet called Yuna's world, as informed by Cal. Upon landing there, Hari cryptically told the ladies that they were not the only ones on the planet. He had important work to accomplish and requested Gale to accompany him for the 500-meter trek. Initially hesitant, Gale wasn't sure what she was getting into, but decided to follow Hari anyway. After a heated argument, Gale reluctantly agreed to leave with Salvar and finally be done with it all. Hari and Gale journeyed into the desert, eventually arriving at a cave where Hari mentioned someone awaited him. To Gale's surprise, Cal emerged from behind a hidden door, revealing a secret passage. Hari instructed Gale to return to the spaceship and wait for him there. He warned that if he didn't return within 6 hours, they should leave the planet to ensure their safety. Gale was frustrated with Hari's secrecy and felt left in the dark. She couldn't comprehend what was happening and grew increasingly agitated. Back on the ship, she waited anxiously with Salvar. As the 6-hour deadline passed without Hari's return, they gave up hope and decided to leave. Unexpectedly, the ground beneath them collapsed, causing their ship to sink below the surface. Just as they prepared to depart, a colossal robot-like structure emerged, compelling them to launch the ship and flee. As they escaped, they noticed Hari Seldon asleep and resting in the palm of a giant stone figure standing beside the cave. Gale descended from the spaceship, utterly astonished by the sight before her. Hari was no longer just a computerized version of himself. He had transformed into something more profound and enigmatic. Gale gently lifted Hari's lifeless body and carried him aboard the ship, where something mysterious happened. As Hari regained consciousness, questions arose about how he came back to life, whether Cal was still alive, or if some magical force was at play in Una's world. The events that unfolded were undeniably peculiar, and their implications could potentially reshape the entire narrative moving forward. In the upcoming episodes, Gale and Salvar will undoubtedly have countless questions for Hari Seldon, and their answers will wield significant influence over the overall plot.